Hi, I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Lovoni and Sarah podcast. Today, Lovoni and I chat about what we've done and continue to do to set ourselves up for successful weight loss, much of which comes down to preparation. Preparation provides you with the knowledge and skills needed to face challenges and complete tasks successfully. And when it comes to successfully losing weight and bettering your health, being prepared is key. Preparation increases confidence and positivity, setting you on the right path for success. But before we dive into our preparation episode, let's check in with last week's goals. Lovoni, what were your goals and were you successful?
Mine was to exercise every day. Yes. And I did all but one day.
Oh, even with your bad back?
Yes. I figured walking and biking. I didn't do the weights.
No.
I stayed away from the machine. But I just did some walking and biking, and some days I did more than others. I think I've said before, I go into my workout room with no particular set fixed time, because then I clock watch. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, I'm going to go and work out. And some days it was 30 minutes, and there was a couple of days there it was over an hour and a half. So
wow,
because I watch shows. Mm-hmm. I look up stuff if I need to, find props or whatever. I spend my time doing that. I play a game, things like that. I listen to music. Mm-hmm. And if I'm, right in the middle of something, I just keep going. Yeah. Or I think, if I've got to like 8.3 miles on my bike, I think, well, I can do another 0.7. And then by the time I look up, I'm at 9.5. So I think, well, I may as well do 10. So that's how it goes. I don't, because if I just know the way that my brain works. And I think a lot of people are like this. If I go in saying, I'm going to ride, 7 miles and walk 2 kilometers, I just will hate it. Yeah, not hate it. But it drags, yeah. So I think
did you swim as well?
And then I swam. But I don't include, like if I go for an outside bike ride or I swim, I never sort of include that in my daily.
That's a leisure. That's just movement.
Yeah, it's movement. Yeah. And it's just something that, I enjoy to do. So I don't, if I've worked out for, if I've been actually working out for 50 minutes, and then often when I get in the pool, I don't want to get out. So, and I don't just lie around in the pool. I do laps. And I walk as well in there, because, that's so good. The pressure of the water. Resistance, And I mean, that's usually about 50 minutes as well. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. And then a bike ride can be anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour or more. Just depends.
We've got nice flat sort of places to ride.
Yeah, it's very flat around here.
Right.
I would just, I wish there was a nice park, but it's like, I live in a quiet town. I go out down the country roads, and it just depends how far I go, because then I've got to turn around and come back again.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. No, it is nice, but it's, when it's windy and you're out in the country, there's nothing to shelter you and break it up. So sometimes it's so hard when you're riding into the wind. So anyway, but that's what I do. I don't include those.
Has it been windy
things.
there? We've had really strong wind here the last few days.
I thought the bloody roof was going to blow off the house last night. Yeah. It's just been hot. I feel like I'm living back in Florida.
Oh,
the humidity has just been like, whoo. Yeah.
So we haven't certainly here, the last week, we've had rain quite a lot of the days. It's been a lot cooler, like sort of 14 degrees.
It must be. You've got a cardi on.
I know.
Yeah.
It's blooming July. What's going on?
Sarah looks lovely today. She's got is it at all in one thing, or is it? She's got a navy top and a navy cardi on.
Navy top and cardi.
Yeah, and I like your necklace too. She's got a necklace on with a little padlock on it. Yeah, that's really cute. Yeah.
Do you know what? You'll laugh at this, because when I put my top and my cardigan on, I thought, I'm not sure that looks a bit mumsy. So I needed to put a padlock on to make myself edgy.
Give you a bit of that S&M thing there, right?
I'm not entirely sure that I look that edgy.
Well,
Thanks for noticing.
Eventually people will be able to see that. Sarah and I
are working on it.
Yes, we've been trying out some different ways of, getting recorded that were free, basically, because, we don't get any money at this stage for doing this. But we think we're going to have to pay, or just keep it short, which, we prefer not to have to do that. But anyway,
no,
so we are working on it.
Knowing us, we're probably not going to be that successful at cutting it short. So
no.
we'll probably start to invest.
And, and then so coming into season 3, which will be next month, the end of next month, maybe then that's a good time to start it. Should be ready to go. Yes, yeah. What were your goals, Sarah?
My goal was the time blocking.
Okay.
And the intention was obviously the time blocking, like we've talked about before, which I enjoyed, the sort of 50 minutes and then the 10, which went really well. I did time block well, but I didn't really use my 10 minutes for getting my steps up in the way that I wanted to. So I still don't feel like my general movement is where I want it to be.
Right.
My strength training is going really well. So I've been to the gym regularly and really pushing myself and making progress there. So that's good. It's not like I'm not doing anything. But I just feel like I've been sat down a bit too much, when you've been at your desk a bit too long and you can feel a bit creaky and stuff. So that's the thing that I still need to improve on. And then the other thing, it wasn't really a goal, but I said I wanted to make those egg tortilla.
Oh yeah, did you?
Things I did, yeah.
So did you do the outside so it goes crispy, like when you flip it over?
No, the way that I did it was I put my egg mix into the pan and started to cook the underneath of it. So it was pretty much cooked through, but the top was still a little tiny bit liquid.
And then you put the tortilla on.
I put the tortilla on that.
Yeah.
And then I gave that a few more minutes, and then I flipped it. So it did warm it, but it didn't crisp.
Oh, okay. So you didn't. Okay, radio.
No, so I just sort of warmed the tortilla side, basically. Okay. And then in the centre, I put some pickled red cabbage. I put some hummus. I put some salad things in there, and it was really delicious. I really enjoyed it.
I haven't done it yet, but I've got it on my list. I want to do like a breakfast one, but I want to get the bottom a little crispy and then fold it in half, so it's almost like a quesadilla type thing. Yeah. So I'm gonna. That's on my list. It felt
quite substantial, mine.
Oh, I bet.
It was only the one tortilla, but that's quite a lot of coverage with I guess it's like an omelette, isn't it, really, what you put underneath? And then with the hummus and all the vegetables, it actually was like a really substantial lunch, so it went well.
And it's probably really easy.
It was easy. I did a version for my son too and put some chorizo and things like that in there, and he really enjoyed it. So good way of getting the protein up too with the eggs in it.
Right. Okay,
so, so I think my goals went okay, not too bad.
Oh, that's good. Well, on to today, preparation. I like this subject because I do like to be prepared.
I think we're both kind of like that, aren't we? We're very prepared people.
And I was thinking this about how people may not necessarily think that they have to get prepared to do the whole, this. Okay, so you've decided to lose weight,
Yeah.
That's the thing. But then people just go, okay, and maybe launch into it. I know a lot of people do that. Oh, I'm just going to eat all the shit in the house, all the crap stuff. And, that's not good to do. But then people may not think about preparing as much. But I think, if you're going on a holiday, a vacation, you plan for that. This is a big thing. It's your health. It's a
lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change. You need to prepare for it, because if you're prepared, you're mentally setting yourself up to succeed. I think rather than, when you just run headlong into it and don't do any preparation or any planning, then, may not necessarily succeed. So, kudos to people if they don't feel they need it. And I think it's really good following on after discipline from last week, because to me, discipline and preparation go together.
They do, yeah.
And it's like tomato and basil.
With mozzarella, because that's delicious.
right, that's delicious too. Maybe some bread, bit of balsamic. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, you digress.
Yeah. So I know that starting a diet, let's call it a diet,
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle change, but it's diet. You're eating, so therefore it's a diet. Like humans eat a diet.
It's two stages of something, isn't it? Because you've got to go through that first stage where you're trying to get rid of the excess weight and fat, and then after that, then you need to then obviously be able to live like that.
Right,
it's going to be this awful,
maintain.
But so it is a two-stage thing. So if you wanted to, you could call the first section of the project the diet,
right?
But ultimately, you're going to have to still do the same sort of thing, carrying on. So that's what's the lifestyle change.
It has to be sustainable.
There is no end fixed to it, is there?
No, there isn't. But I mean, humans eat a diet, so I don't know where suddenly that word
that's
became.
When it changed, isn't it? Exactly, the word used to be what you were eating. Your diet was what you were eating.
Yeah, like cows have a diet of grass, you know.
Yeah, call it that.
So it's not a bad word, and I think people need to get that out of their mind. But so they need to, the first thing I think is getting mentally prepared. We talk a lot about the mental aspects of losing weight and going through a lifestyle change. And I think if you prepare yourself mentally too for it, that's going to help a lot, because I think the biggest obstacle is the brain. If you tell yourself this is going to be hard, or you think that you're going to miss out, that's what's going to happen.
It is
getting into a different mindset.
You can almost see that as a trip hazard. So that mindset those are those things that you're telling yourself, they are your trip hazards. They are the things that are going to sabotage you. And human beings generally want to take the easiest path to get to somewhere, don't they?
Path of least resistance.
Yeah, and we talked about that with discipline last week. Actually, the bit that you probably have to do is the most uncomfortable part, the bit that you really don't want to. However, you're always going to look for the easiest route that you can. So if you have got some things, particularly if you're busy or stressed, that's the worst time, isn't it? When you feel like you're mentally loaded with something else, the last thing you want to then think about doing is like, well, what am I going to eat that's supposed to be really good for my health, is going to help me lose weight, all of those things. So at those moments, preparation is where the win is, isn't it? Because if you've already got something prepared, then you don't even have to add that into your thinking process, because it's there, and it is still the easiest thing to do, because all you have to go is to the fridge or the freezer or whatever and pick out the thing that's already prepared. So preparation is your winner every single time, in that situation, no matter the reason you're in the mindset of not wanting to do it, like you were just describing there, saying, it's hard, all of those things. Well, then that's what helps you avoid those pitfalls.
Yeah. And make a plan. So, because a plan without a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a big believer in writing things down, and maybe some people aren't, but I think if you write it down, it greatly increases your chances of success. And this is this is not just something I'm saying; it's actually been proven to write it down. So you write a plan down, and this might sound over the top. It'll take like mere minutes, but you do a yearly plan, then you do a monthly plan. It's not like you have to go through, from January to December, but you do a monthly plan. So this month, this is what I want to achieve. I want to lose 6 pounds or whatever, work out more, da-da-da. But, some detail. Then a weekly plan, then a daily plan.
How are you going to do it?
So what's your goal? When do you want to achieve it by? It is good to have a starting date. Otherwise, it's just an end date. Yeah, I think. Otherwise, it's just
deliverable.
Yeah. And it has to be achievable too, right? How you'll go about it. So if you do it, say, for 12 months, break it down, like I said, to your current month, and then think, okay, so you've got that. Look at your kitchen. I mean, that's important. And we've talked about this. I think if you've got like a kitchen with like stuff everywhere on the counters and just bottles of things out of date, clean out your fridge, clean out your pantry. And it might take you half a day to do it. Move everything, wipe everything down, get your kitchen ready, because it's important to mentally, when you go into your kitchen, feel like you want to be in there, not like, oh my God, I've got this much bench space because I've got plastic containers and stuff everywhere.
Well, it makes it enjoyable to be in there then.
It does. It's much more enjoyable. It's more enjoyable if you open the pantry and you've got things in jars, you can see what you've got. You can get rid of, outdated stuff. You can get rid of things that aren't going to serve you on this journey. Some people can keep, snacky, chocolatey, sugary type things in the house and just have a couple once a week or something. But I can't. Get rid of those. And don't think I'm just going to eat them all now. And then I'll do it.
What you're doing is making your mountain even higher to climb.
Right, exactly. Because that's been my mentality in the past, thinking, well, I'm going to start, Monday, and it's Thursday, and so therefore between now and Monday, I'm just going to go hell for leather. I think one of the best things that people can do, if they are looking at, getting healthier, losing weight, having a lifestyle change, is to make little changes leading up to not D-Day, but, try and start to eat less or eat less sugary foods, or if you, take out stuff a lot, then maybe don't do that so much. I don't know, just start making these little changes as well, rather than going from the all or nothing mindset, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. And, it's quite interesting because I was looking at trying to see about why preparation makes such an effect on your brain, and the things you just talk about there is that actually it's all about decision making. At the end of the day, we've always got this decision whether we're going to do what we need to do that's going to help our benefit our health and our weight loss or not, or what we're going to eat and all of those things around it. And the way that decision making is created in your brain is it's communication between the prefrontal cortex, which is your working memory, and your hippocampus, which is your long-term memory. So it was a very, very detailed article that I was reading. So I'm going to try and give you a really small summary, but bear with me. So in summary, the brain makes predictions and creates a matrix that basically requires increasing trust, and it's based on prior experience. So it bases its decisions or creates its decisions based on trust, a trust matrix that you have to create. You're not just born with a trust matrix. You've learned it, you've experienced it. So you can intelligently control that thought process, but it basically gets promoted from a learning model, and it's all based on prior knowledge. So if you're still with me, it's basically saying that the knowledge that you've created builds trust in your own brain, and that trust is what then leads you to make decisions in a millisecond.
Right.
Your brain is going through all of these things. So what you're describing there is the preparation, is you can create a habit, you can create an environment, you can create a place where this automatic knowledge, which is the kind of the library in the back of your brain, that then communicates from the back, which is the long-term memory, to the front, which is the the short-term memory, goes, oh, I know where I am, I know what I'm doing in this situation, I know that when it's clean and it's tidy, I'm going to enjoy what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go into this process, I'm going to make something healthy for myself.
Right.
Whereas your current environment, which might be a little hectic, it might be overloaded, might be filled with things that you have eaten in the past or you don't want to eat going forward, that millisecond you've got to try and interrupt it is really short. So it will just do what it's always done, because that's its knowledge
to the
base
easy
that it's
way.
created. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I was trying to think, so why does preparation make any difference to this thought process and how it's created this knowledge and trust? Your brain is going to trust itself because that's what it knows. That's what it's experienced. This is the library that it's built for itself. So you're going to have to create yourself a new library, in essence, aren't you?
Right.
You're going to have to create yourself a new knowledge, a new experience, something that it can trust in. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Like a routine, like starting a new routine.
Like the habit, like we talked about in our habit episode, was that's why it works, and that's why it doesn't happen on day one or day 2 or 3, probably. Right. Because you're going to need to create this knowledge, this experience, this trust in your own brain that moves from the back to the front.
Right.
And it can only be done through experience, through learning. You could class learning as experience as well, but it's not going to suddenly magic itself up from nowhere. And what it has to do, your brain has to trust this knowledge that it's got. So probably just once isn't going to be enough, because it won't trust it. But but what I'll do is all the things that I've trusted before, because I know what I'm doing. And that it's a bit scientific, I know, and a bit much to get your head around. But if you can try and think of it like that, is trying to create yourself a new library that's a trusted source of information by exactly the things you were discussing there, you know, the preparation, the food, the types of things, and what you're telling yourself. So as you were just describing, someone telling themselves that it's hard and it's too big, and all of that's going to be feeding into this library, isn't it, of the way to live. So that's interesting. And you've got this millisecond between action of what you're actually doing and what the brain tells you to do. And it's unlikely, I think, you're going to catch yourself in that millisecond, isn't it? Go, oh no, don't do that, do this. It's just got to be something which you create through the discipline of just keep doing it over and over and over again.
But if you've done some preparation,
it's what's going to make it so much a smoother path.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you know, and it's not also just about food, the preparation too.
No,
especially
it's everything.
It is, you know, especially hearing you say that, it's a mental thing, as we know most of this is. So if you can set yourself up to succeed from the get-go, until you get into where it's habitual and you feel comfortable with it, and you know, it's that trust issue that you were talking about. You can make the right decisions. Then you need to have some preparation, some goals, some stuff written down, so you can then go and you can read it. Whether it's, you know, this is what I've planned out for my food today, which you know, these are all like safety nets almost. Until you get into that rhythm.
Well, you wouldn't put yourself in the middle of a brand new job, a career sort of job, and then you've never done it before and just expect to know what to do. You can call on some experiences or say, oh, I'm guessing that what I would need to do is this or that. But generally you have help sheets, you have guidance by people, you have information, you have, you know, processes that have already been done by many, many other people that you then follow. It's the same thing, which is the learning that we all look at when we're looking at following other people on Instagram, or, you know, information that we're then trying to take in, listening to people like you or I and other podcasts, reading. It's all of that you're going to take in to get this information and this knowledge. And you would never expect yourself to start a new job on day one and know exactly
everything.
So preparation that someone else in this situation would have done for you by giving you this information to read and to learn. Use that same ethos with what you were trying to do here. So you say, like, what exercise? You say, okay, I need to do exercise. What does that actually look like? Go and have a look. Go and learn. Find out what works for you. But learn from other people that already know, because they've done it for themselves.
Yeah, so if you've got an injury or something, there are other things you can do.
There's so much information out there for you to actually go and look at. And like, there is, the only thing that's getting in your way is this resistance that we talked about, because you think, oh, it's hard. So try and find the path of least resistance. So what's the easiest thing that's going to make a difference for you today? But just actually start it and take some action. That's the thing that's going to make that difference, isn't it?
But you're talking about, you know, starting a new job. You know, if somebody went into to start a new job, then they're going to have information available to them for the most part. Which is a good segue really into, you know, one of the things I had on my list that I do is I get a binder, and then I put recipes in it that I know, you know, wholesome, healthy things, you know, something to do, shopping list, you know, a prep list. So, you know, I like to get a weekly list of recipes, or, you know, have these recipes here. Put a shopping list together, and then if you can do like a little prep list, you know, if you've got salads or whatever, you can make a dressing, maybe chop some veggies, make a sauce, just 30 minutes or 30 to 60 minutes of a little prep on the weekend or whatever day, you know, suits. That also helps for during the week. You know, things like that, marinating meat, you know, if you don't already buy it marinated. Having some storage containers too, that makes a difference. Instead of the shitty old plastic ones or whatever, get yourself some glass ones, some lids, stuff that fits inside each other. Go through your cupboard, you know, get rid of the crap stuff that you've had for years and years. That helps. if you take your lunch to work, those little bento boxes are really good.
Yeah,
and that's kind of a fun way
popular
to
right
do
now, aren't
things.
they? Yeah.
You can put eggs in one, a little bit of salad, some meat, whatever. But they're really good. Plan to have some snacks on hand for the times where you just like, oh, I'm so hungry, I've got to eat something. I always have eggs in the fridge. And usually some sort of dip or something like that, some veggies, fruit washed and then put into containers. I love these crispy wasabi seaweed snacks, which is just basically seaweed that's had wasabi in it, pressed and dried. They're really good. Kimchi, seaweed salad, some lean roasted chicken slices, like just stuff like that. And another thing that people may not have thought of is to clear out your closet. Mm-hmm. That, I think, I do that twice a year when the seasons change. But it's such a good thing to do.
Well, we talked about in the Clear Space, Clear Mind episode,
right,
how transformational that is. And actually people have told us that it made such a difference, and it really does.
Yeah.
Because, again, you're not overwhelmed. I think what we're trying to say is make it easy. Don't be overwhelmed by things. So have the food there ready. Don't be overwhelmed with all of the clothes in your wardrobe that are going to, make choice too difficult. So it's trying to simplify everything. But the way to simplify things is to prepare it. And as you were talking then, I was thinking, when you were talking about a binder, and I mean, we both love a bit of planning,
right?
You know that. But the other thing that I think works for me is making a decision what days I'm going to go to the gym, because what happens if I keep it loose, a bit like, I'll go.
You just keep putting it off. The
day, then it'll go, that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah,
that'll be the tomorrow, and then all of a sudden a week has gone by,
and you haven't gone.
You might have gone once, but that was about it. You have to be really clear with yourself. What day am I going to go, and what time am I going to go? Because otherwise it's so easy to let it slip or to let it move, because I'm stressed, I'm busy, it seems too difficult, and then I don't do it. So you have to make it an actionable rather than a wish list thing,
right?
Don't you? That's the difference with all of these things. Make it actionable. Make the food that I'm going to eat, not I hope I'm going to eat.
Right.
And I think that's the difference between the two. And then you learn all of this new behaviour, and then your brain will then go, I know what I'm doing now, because that's what I always do. And that's when the habits kick in. So
it has to be achievable.
Yes.
But the reason why I was saying about the closet was, yes, to clear space, clear mind type thing, but it also it's nice to see, you think, I love that dress, I don't fit into that dress. So it gives you more incentive as well. To does me. Yeah. I've read where people say, if you don't fit into it, get rid of it. No, I think it's good. For me, it's incentive, because
it depends on what it's doing for you. Yeah.
Nice.
Some people see it as a bit of a thing to sort of hit themselves with, don't they? Like, it doesn't fit, and I'm, then the mental thing.
Yeah, then you just can try and change the narrative, rather than that's exactly. A good first goal is to, I'm going to fit back into that dress, because we both know what a fantastic feeling that is.
Yeah.
But also I think people forget what's in their, you forget what's in your closet too.
Yeah.
You forget what you've got there.
If it's too much in there.
So it's good to, go through and just, pick stuff out, get rid of anything that's stained, holy, whatever. And then, in the mornings, put something nice on. Like, don't keep everything for good. Like, if you work from home, still, you don't have to live all day in your yoga pants.
Yeah, you see, I've learned that from, obviously, I've worked at home for 10 years now. And maybe because I came out of the corporate environment, I always still got into that habit of getting up and putting something on for the day, and then I change into my comfy clothes later in the evening, because it's the best time in the world ever. I'm like, right, get into my comfy clothes,
take your bra off,
all of that stuff. But I think, and that does make a big difference, is feeling like you've dressed for the day. Well, like we've talked about before, it just means you're presenting yourself to the day, doesn't it? Rather than it just you sort of sludging your way through it.
Right. Yeah, it's just another mental thing to prepare you for the day. Yeah. As is things like, I always get my workout clothes out the night before and leave them, and the shoes, that's about the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning. Yeah. throw them on, bang, there's no excuses, go do it. Yeah. And then I have, the outfit ready, which maybe to some people seems like it's over the top, but it's not. It's just setting yourself up on a good path for the day. It's like making your bed. And then if you know what foods you're going to have, you've got a little prep done. Well, you just know, because you've done a little bit of writing the night before and planning your day, and you've got everything there. And so when those thoughts or, come in, those, you were saying that about the trust thing, you think, well, no, I've got it done. I've got this handled. Or if something suddenly sideswipes you and you got to make something for the kid or whatever, your kid, then when you get really busy, but you still got fallback, there's still something anyway. So
the only thing I'd liken it to is if you then think about preparation, for example, if you're going on a trip.
Right.
For me, I get everything ready at least the night before, if not the whole day before. So you've got everything, tickets, passports, everything you possibly need for your trip, as well as all of the stuff that you're going to pack. But what it does is it leaves me free to enjoy the experience, because the next day, if I'm running around like a crazy thing, thinking where are, and I can't find them, I'm not free to enjoy the experience of going on the trip or the holiday, or even if it's just a short thing, because actually it's so stressful trying to get everything ready last minute. And that's the other thing you are doing with preparation, is you're buying yourself time, because everything is so prepared. You don't have to, like we've talked about, that mental ping pong all the time of what am I going to do, what shouldn't I do. You've bought yourself this mental space, haven't you? And so it is genuinely an enjoyable thing to be prepared, because you're now free to enjoy whatever it is you're doing. And I think that's the same with this lifestyle change. If you can get yourself set up and prepared and teach your brain and then get the knowledge and the trust, you're free to enjoy this experience. And as much as it sounds strange, it is something to be enjoyed, because you can see the changes in your body. You can see how you look in your clothes, the ones that hang in your wardrobe. You don't have to buy loads more. You can, when you put an outfit together, you feel different, don't you? You feel healthier.
You feel better about yourself too.
So by being prepared, you've got time to actually stand back and appreciate that and enjoy all of that, rather than feeling like you're overwhelmed, thinking, oh my God, I've got to prepare a meal for this evening. What's that going to look like? And do I have to go to the shops to go and get it? No, that's way too hard. What I'm going to do is just get a takeaway, because that's the easiest route. So I think for me, that's what preparation does. It helps reduce anxiety, because you know what's coming. I know I've got the tools to cope with what's coming. And now I'm free to enjoy whatever it is that's coming, whether it is a trip, whether it is a lifestyle change with food, whether it is cleaning and sorting your home out, that whole feeling of opening your drawer 15 times because you've tidied it, like we talked about before. It's so lovely.
It's so nice.
It's so nice.
It gives you confidence too, don't you think? Because, you're not going to go to a job interview and not be prepared.
No.
You're going to have questions that you want to ask, because you always get asked, do you have any questions? And it's good to have some. And you're going to know about the company. You go prepared. An actor doesn't turn up to the first day of a shoot, not knowing their lines, or not being prepared, or not having spent time, being the person that they're going to portray for the last 6 months or 3 months or whatever. Like you said too, with the trip, you don't suddenly just, I don't wake up one morning and go, I'm going to go, to, God, I don't know, New Zealand for 3 weeks, not have anything booked or anything. You start that so far ahead.
On the hoof, whatever it might be, you still have to have an element of preparation.
Right.
You still have to make sure you've got the things with you that you need to have. You can't just rock up and not have those things.
Yeah.
And it's the same.
At least your passport, right?
Well, exactly. You could go to the gym in your jeans and try and do what you need to do there. So everything, even if you don't do it as far in advance as you or I would do it, because that's what we enjoy, because we like the feeling of being prepared. Even if it's what we would class as last minute preparation, there's still some preparation that needs to go into it. And if you're going to succeed, you have to accept that you're going to have to do some preparation. And maybe that's the discipline and the discomfort, because maybe some people hate it. that whole, I just don't want to be prepared. You're going to have to. I know.
Love it.
What
right.
But, you're going to have to get uncomfortable then in that case. You're going to have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable feeling of having to do some preparation, because do you know what? This is not going to work if you don't do it. It's just not.
No, it won't. And it doesn't take very long.
No.
I mean, it takes me to prepare recipes that I want to test, write, develop, the whole thing, which is, more involved than the average person would do for themselves. But it's probably 30 minutes out of my week to do that.
Yeah.
And, so if I do it in 30 minutes, it'd probably take, anybody else probably 20 or 15 minutes, because they're not going into such detail. And then especially, if I said, if they've got a folder with some recipes in there, so that's not going to take, they don't have to think, what am I going to make for dinner? Yeah. It's all down. You've got a meal planner. It's all, written down.
I think the biggest thing with that is having then the food in the fridge or the store cupboard ready. Because that's what I'm just sort of thinking about my lunches. Even if I haven't prepped each individual box for 4 days, for example.
Right.
What I have got are the packets of rice in the cupboard, the salad that's in there ready for me, the tins of tuna. So all I have to do, it takes me 5 minutes at the most to then assemble that box for my lunch, even if I haven't pre-prepared the box days in advance. But what I do know is I've got it all in literally
they're ready to go.
It's ready to eat. It's the days that I don't have that. So the idea is I've made the box already and I just take it out of the fridge. That's great. But if on the second best thing is the fact I'm just taking it out of the store cupboard or the fridge to put it together. But the days that I don't have either of those things, that's when it's really tough. I'm like, well, what am I going to eat then? And so then you just go searching. You go, well, I'll have bread rolls or cheese, like as in excessive amounts of stuff, or I have to go and buy something. So when you're there, you go, oh, the easiest option. So you're actually making it harder for yourself by not doing the preparation.
By not being prepared, By
some people think the preparation is hard, but genuinely it's not. It's the easiest
part of the whole thing. Yeah. And, it's just setting yourself up for success. That's what it's doing if you prepare. So, anybody that thinks, nah, I can do this without it, let's see how long you last. Sorry, don't mean to be negative, Nelly, but it's true. And, and it also doesn't guarantee you 100% success, but it's a lot higher than if you don't do any preparation.
Well, it's just taking this path of least resistance, isn't it?
Right.
That's what you're doing. You're just trying to make it as smooth as you possibly can for yourself. And then understanding how your brain works, it makes sense then. You go, okay, that actually makes sense to me. I've got to trust what I'm environment that I'm in, and that's going to take a bit of time, but the only way to do that is to make that environment. It's not going to be something you can buy or just rock up to. And that's why I guess health retreats are so lovely, aren't they? Because it's been done for you. I haven't been on one.
Me
but,
neither.
I've seen many. I'd love to, but I've seen many. And you literally turn up with your suitcase, but even that you've had to prepare, because you've got to take the packing list and the things with you and all of that sort of thing. But then you turn up, your exercise has been organised at a certain time, and you know when you're going to do that. Your food is prepared for you. There's relaxation as well, because there's some time off, or maybe even some workshops, art workshops. It just looks really, really lovely.
So nice to do.
I know. Should we go tomorrow? You've got 7 days, let's just say, of immersing yourself in that environment, and your brain is going to go, oh, this is what it feels like to do this. I like this. And I'm sure that it would change you when you come back, albeit that you have to slip into normal world routine a little bit. But that memory of sort of thinking, oh, it's nice to exercise at that time, or that type of food is something that I really enjoyed and it makes me feel good. Those triggers are going to be something which helps inspire you for your preparation for what your life looks like when you get home. So maybe try and make your own little version at home. That would be nice. Maybe even just a day.
Right.
A little day for a weekend day. And you set it up thinking, I'm going to do some yoga-y type stretching or whatever in the morning when I get up. Then I'm going to make myself a really lovely breakfast, and I'm going to go for a walk. There's no reason why it has to be something maybe out of your budget or out of your time availability, because people are sort of time starved, aren't they, a lot of the time?
Yeah,
so
a lot of people don't have the money either.
Maybe one day a month.
Right.
I'm going to set myself aside and turn my day into a little health retreat for myself, and help my brain remember that this is the way that I want to live, and this is what it feels like, and do that for yourself. You know, I think that's something that is very doable.
And you're making yourself a priority, which is important because we don't. So many of us don't.
No.
And I think sometimes the more overweight and unfit, unhealthy, sore, whatever words you want to use, the less that you feel that you're making yourself a priority. But this is about making yourself a priority. That's, I mean, end of the day, isn't it, really? It's also about stop making excuses too.
Well, that's what Charlene was saying last week, wasn't she? She said that the weight that she's actually felt like she blended in, so she didn't have to think about it so much.
Right.
And actually, she used that exact phrase, didn't she? She said the only thing that was basically stopping was the excuses. She was making excuses. And I think it's one of those things when you become exposed to a concept or a word, you then start to see it over and over again, don't you? And I think we talked about this before, but this week, funnily enough, I've seen that so many different places that people have talked about excuses. You know, the reason something's not happening is probably because you're just making an excuse.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is the action and the uncomfortable discipline that goes with that.
Right.
But then you will see a result, and the only thing that's stopping you is making an excuse. And maybe it's that excuse of like, oh, my kitchen cupboard is so full, I just can't face emptying it, so I'll do it a different day. Or I've got 3 events coming up this month, so there's really no point me starting trying to do a
so many people have said that to me. That is just such a bad way of thinking.
They just write off a whole
month
events.
Because of 3. They're not even whole days either. No. It's so bad. And then they think, well, fuck it, you know, I'm just going to do whatever this month. It's just such a bad thing to do.
Then if you just sort of thought 3 days out of 30,
right,
you've got 27 more that you could actually make an impact with.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small impact, those 27 impacts will add up.
God.
And that's the sort of thing you've got to try to remember, is that stop making excuses. Get prepared, and you will get yourself some success.
Yeah.
You'll see some deliverable actions.
Do you find that if you tackle the hardest thing in your day, so you've got, you know what you're doing for the most part, you know, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you find that if you tackle the hardest thing first, that your day is just better? Because it puts in a mental...
Get done. And I remember
it'll get done, yeah.
From being in the office, so you'd have a to-do list as long as your arm, because that's just always the way it was.
Right.
But if you didn't put the biggest chunk down first, it would never get done.
Right.
And I used to be guilty of that, thinking I'll just get all the little ones out the way first, because then I'll have a really lovely big chunk of space to do the big one. But do you know what?
It doesn't
the little
happen.
ones keep coming.
Yeah.
So the little ones then just keep, so that you just
they're always going to be there.
Move them up, and then you're like, oh, I've got to the end of the day and I haven't done that thing again. Okay, tomorrow I'll do that tomorrow. So you put it in, and then you keep moving things up that you have to genuinely make your priority a priority.
Yes.
And I was listening to a podcast the other day that was talking about the worst sabotages on your to-do list are number 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Because you look at number 3 to 5 and think, oh, I'll just do those because they're smaller and I'll get them out of the way, and then I can do number 1. And do you know what? You'll never do number 1.
No.
Because the 3 to 5 never end, for example, always, because there's always something to fill it, and they'll always take you longer than you think, and all of that sort of stuff. So I think that's another thing, is you've got this priority that you were talking about, you've got to make it your number 1. And there's no, well, I'll wait until, or there's no tomorrow. Is literally now, like we've talked about before, literally now. We don't even have to wait till tomorrow morning. Anything that you do today will benefit you.
Yeah. Yeah, anything. Just start.
Whether it's a meal that you've changed, whether it's a number of steps that you've managed to add today compared to yesterday. Anything. And I think that's what's making the difference for me, is just understanding that yes, it is a complete lifestyle change, but I don't have to, which goes against the grain for me, literally have done everything and all in one go. It's okay, and you will see results. Just keep doing one extra thing compared to what you've done last week or yesterday,
and add to it.
And just keep adding to it.
That's what we do, with our goals. What we talk about is just, okay, we make a goal, and it doesn't mean that the next week we've just let it go by the wayside.
No, we haven't ignored the first one.
No, the whole idea is that you add to it. And that's why I was asking you about, do you do the hardest thing on your list first? because I find, and I know you like to exercise in the afternoon, but for me, if I've got my exercise in the morning done first, it just sets me up right mentally for the day. It's like somebody, if they think, I've got a busy night or whatever, they can't make, they don't know what they're going to do about dinner. Maybe try doing some prep the night before. Yeah. Or if you've got time in the morning, do some prep in the morning. If that's going to be your, if that's going to be your biggest thing, but try whatever you know that you find the hardest, tackle it first in the day, because that will help set you up for success as well. And if you focus on the most important things to help you reach your goal, which is, what you put in your mouth and how much you move your body, focus on those two things.
Yeah, it's actually no more difficult than that, is it?
No, really.
It isn't.
It isn't. We make it difficult because of this, the narrative. You need to change the narrative, really, and get prepared. So, speaking of food, which, we do all the time, really, what have you got cooking for this coming week?
Well, I really fancy making some curries this week.
Well, that sounds good.
And I'm going to do my famous tagine, because I haven't done it for ages. I've been very remiss. I don't know what's
that the chicken and chickpea one from the BBC?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to do some batch cooking of that, because I've got some
that's
time
good.
This weekend. So I'm going to do lots of house chores and things. I'm going to do some batch cooking of the tagine. I really fancy some curry. So I've got the Hairy Bikers. Have you heard of them?
Oh yeah. I've got one. Yeah, I've got their book.
The cookbook. The curry cookbook. Yeah,
I think it's a curry cookbook. Yeah.
I'm going to do at least one out of them, because I've done that before, and
I've made a few things out of those. That was one of the books on our my sisters and I. The cookbook list. That we cooked some stuff out of that. It was all really good.
Really enjoyed that. And then I was going to ask you for a recommendation. Do you want to tell me a curry to cook? What would you recommend?
Oh gosh. Do you want to do it all from the get-go, or you want it just to be quickie? Quickies are good. Where you use a paste. Or do you want
I normally use the spices, but it depends on whether you're going to put about 1 billion spices in.
There's a really good, I've got a really good butter chicken one that I do with riced cauliflower. That's really good. Yeah, I'll send you the link for that. Yeah, it's delicious.
Okay. So that's what I fancy this week. I really fancy some curries.
It's funny you said that, because I was thinking this morning about the most enjoyable cookbooks I've ever worked on.
Oh, yeah.
And because I've worked on hundreds of cookbooks, right? One, and the ones that I enjoyed the food from the most too.
Yeah.
The Mexican cookbook that I did.
Yeah.
But also, one was an Indian cookbook that I worked on.
Okay.
So I was just, it's funny that you brought that up, because I was just thinking about that this morning when I worked for the Australian Women's Weekly in Sydney, and when we worked on, excuse me, any cookbooks of, like we did Middle Eastern cookbooks, Indian cookbooks, Spanish, Vietnamese, we would go to all these restaurants and talk to the chef, go into the kitchen, see how they did it, did a lot of research for them. And I really loved working on the Indian cookbook.
Okay.
Yeah. So now
what
you've got me.
What did you love about it?
Oh gosh. Well, just the food, obviously.
Flavor.
The flavors and just how you can use the similar spices in something and change the way that you use them, and how it can be so different. And also how in a curry you can get so much nutrients out of it too. You can get, you can put chickpeas in it. You can put, spinach, sweet potato, your proteins. And they're better the next day. They're a really good thing to prep ahead. I know there's just so many things to like about it.
Of onion and garlic and things as well.
Right, which is so good for you. Oh gosh, yeah. So, now you've got me wanting a curry, Sarah.
Sorry.
It's not on my list, yeah.
You're going to have to add it in.
Right. God, my list is quite substantial for things that I'm cooking. Sadly, curry's not on there. So is that it? That's what you're doing this week?
Yeah, I'm going to do curries this week. Yeah.
Okay, well, you'll have to take some pictures and post them.
I will.
Share them on our stories and stuff. I'm doing that breakfast quesadilla. Because I'm gonna put smoked salmon and cream cheese. Well, it's not, you don't call it breakfast quesadilla, but I want to try and crispen it up a bit. Yeah. The tortilla, so I can fold it.
Nice.
I mean, not crisp it, so I can't fold it, but I do like the crispy aspect. Yeah. I'm also doing a sesame salmon dish where you coat you marinate the salmon in some soy, coat it in some sesame seeds, pan fry it, and then excuse me, I'm going to serve it with just brown rice and an edamame and cucumber salad. Yeah, lovely. Just something simple like that. And I really want to come up with a seed, like crackers, like bigger crackers that are gluten free. To put things like a bit of cream cheese and some smoked salmon, or chicken salad or egg salad or something like that. Avocado and tomato. But yeah, that I just sometimes I just have to watch my gluten. I'm going to do a chicken gochujang noodle dish. Like a Korean thing with just those ramen. You get the ramen noodles in the packet with the seasoning. Well, I'm not going to put the seasoning in. I'm just going to use the noodles. So, quite an inexpensive thing. I'm going to use ground chicken just for time saving. Sorry, can you hear Ramsey?
Yeah, a little tiny bit.
He's decided to fix his house up in the middle of recording. Yes. I'm going to do a sheet pan fajita. Like a pita bread thing, so I'm going to just put the chicken, veggies, everything all on the one pan and then put them into some pita bread. And then, I've got it. It's quite, it's quite the... Hey, bud. I do have curried, I was going to try doing just a curry chicken salad, to fill maybe some lettuce wraps or something like that.
Oh, okay. Or like coronation chicken, like we did for the...
Oh, possibly. Yeah, maybe. But now I want to do an actual curry. Curry. And then this is something that I've been working on. It's grilled shrimp. It's like chipotle honey shrimp and tacos. So they've got like just a bit of red cabbage and stuff inside them, bit of like a coleslaw type thing. Yeah. So that's what I'm
always
making.
So hungry by the end of this section of our podcast.
Right. Me too, because I haven't eaten anything yet. But yeah, so they're just some things that I've got prepared. I've done my shopping list. Going to go and pick that up.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, just preparation. Stay tuned.
What are your goals for this week?
Oh, my goal for this week is to lose some weight, because I think I might have put a pound or two on. I don't know. I might not have.
Oh, what, when you
because I haven't. Normally I weigh on myself on a Friday, and we're away, and I didn't do that. And then last week I had to go to an ear, nose, and throat specialist first thing in the morning, so I didn't do it. Then I just spaced it. And so tomorrow I've got to, getting back on the scales. Yeah. And then my goal is to lose, if I put on any weight, is to get that gone and maybe another pound or something. So that's my goal. Okay. That's my big focus for the week. What about you?
I'm going to, mine's themed around preparation. I'm going to want to try and make some small, a bit like you said, the bento boxes, but I want to make some healthy snack boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like my breakfast, my lunch and my evening meal are all fine. I'm really good at that now with my preparation. It's the bits in between where I get a bit peckish and then I feel a bit searching what to have. And I feel that that's the sort of trip hazards for me. So I'm going to start to do some little boxes of things. So whether it's some crunchy vegetables with hummus and a little boiled egg or something, something like that actually looks nice. I can enjoy getting out of the fridge, enjoy making them all, like the hundreds of reels which I seem to be watching at the moment because everyone seems to be making them. Like, I want to do that. So that's my goal for this week, is to make myself some healthy turn to little snack boxes.
You must share them to give ideas. And that what you said there, I think too is key, is having things look nice.
It is for me.
I think that does. It makes a big difference. Next week, Sarah and I are talking about patience. Something Sarah and I have in abundance. No, we don't. No. Just kidding. Of course we don't. We all want immediate results just as much as the next person. We talk about how we battle with impatience and what we do to keep it in check. So join us for that episode. As always, thank you so much for listening. Please send us a message if there's something you'd like to hear us chat about. Visit lovoniandsarah.com to subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss an episode. You'll also find links to connect with us on social media. Remember, what we've learned about getting healthy and losing weight that's become clear. For success, there has to be both discipline and preparation. Both of these things will set you up for a greater chance of achieving your goals. Thanks for listening. Bye now.
Bye.